Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast, where today we're going to offer yet another inside view of one of the candidates vying for a seat on the Lowell City Council. In this particular case, District 7, the Acre District as it is known. And joining us here in the WellPoint studios, one of the candidates in that race, first-time candidate, I believe, in the city of Lowell, and maybe in his entire life. We'll get to that question. But Sidney Liang is joining us here in the WellPoint studios. Sidney, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I want a chance to talk a little bit about yourself, about some of the issues, and give folks an opportunity to know you, though you've been doing a public access show for a long time now. So I feel like there's a certain part of the city that knows you very well, right?
I feel like usually I'm on the opposite end.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to switch at some point and you can interview me, I'm more than happy to do it. But I'll never run for office, so you won't have to worry about that. So let me just ask you the same question for those who don't know who you are. Who are you? Who is Sidney Liang? Why do you want to be a city councilor? Why do you want to represent District 7, the Acre District?
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching today. My name is Sidney Liang. I am a candidate for District 7. My family, and I have been in the district for, I think, over 30 years or 40 years around Acre area, Broadway, Bowers, Mount Vernon, Mount Washington. So I know the district well. I know what the needs of the district, and I understand the community. And I feel like it's my time to bring some of the issues, basic issues, not controversial or that much controversial issues of the day, kitchen table kind of things to the city hall.
Okay. So we know why you're running. A little bit about your background. Besides the public access show, where has your kind of life and career path taken you? And more specifically, what in your background has prepared you, do you feel has prepared you the most to serve as a city councilor?
Well, I feel like I'm very much connected with the Acre area. I been in the city. I went to Lowell High for many years. I also went to Middlesex Community College, and within the communities that I live in, especially the Acre, I went to night school. I also worked full time. I came from Cambodia, of course, went through the Khmer Rouge, and came here with my mother and a sister. So we went through all the horrific thing that many Cambodians went through as well. And most importantly is that since I am the oldest of the family, sent to be the leader of the family in a way, I grew up, even when I was 14 or 15, would be the leader of the family, and most of the time trying to protect and try to educate the family. And it led to many community programs, community advocates, and community services that I always been doing for over 30 years now. So I feel like I know the community, and I feel like a lot of the work that I have done also mirror the issues that's happening in the city. And I feel like, okay, maybe it is time for me to come up, and because I've been doing a lot of community services that involve helping our Acre residents.
Okay. And this is your first run for public office as a city of Lowell official. Have you ever run for class president or any other office?
No. Usually I sit in the back of the room.
You're the one asking the question. So
Right.
So this is your first campaign. Is there something that surprised you as you officially launched it a couple of weeks ago, but you've been thinking about it for a while? Has something surprised you so far?
The different rules, the different regulation that you have to follow by, and you have to sort of like check all the different boxes that you have to go through. So that's why we get off a little slow, so that we want to make sure that all these boxes are checked before we even going on to knocking on doors, and hopefully I can go in and see some of the residents out there and at least say hello.
Okay. You mentioned spending 40 years in the Acres, so you know the district very well. What's the most important issues as you see them facing the Acre district today?
The most important issues, huh? It's a tough question, but it's an easy answer mostly for me. the issues that I want to see most is get the Acre equal to other communities, districts throughout the city. We can't be the lowest or the second to the lowest among the 8 districts within the city. For example, road work. If you've seen my Facebook page, I scream and howl every winter. There's ice, there's also snow that's not being plowed. And we always seem to be like the last of getting plowed. We always seem to be, ice on the road that stay there for many, many days. And of course, when I was young, it was okay. But now I have kids, and these kids are driving in our roads, so therefore, we want to make sure take good care of them, and just basic safety issues as well.
Okay. When folks were the battle about whether to change the political system and what to change it to, one of the things people pointed to was different districts get different treatment was one of the critiques. And the Acre was the one that everybody said got the least amount of attention, least amount of voters in terms of income and time spent in the city. They were kind of at the bottom. The power districts, Belvedere, Upper Highlands, Pawtuckaville, etc. Has the change in system worked? Do you believe that change to district representation and the Acre neighborhood having a district representative, has it made a difference from what you've seen?
I would say somewhat. We've gained attention, but attention have to, made into actual work. And we need to see that. Of course, we see, housing being built within the Acre area also. We've seen some progress, I would say, since the district system got in place. But this is also why I'm running, is that I want to know, is this really the case? Are we getting the short end of the stick? Or is there something that, we need to work with so that everybody can look equally? If you're in a good neighborhood, how about give us a little bit of leverage in terms of make our neighborhood the same as your neighborhood?
Okay. If elected, you're also going to take votes that you're not just going to vote on issues affecting the Acre. You're going to take votes that affect the entire city, that affect other people's neighborhoods, and often those neighborhood issues affect the whole city. What do you see as the most important issue facing the city today, not just your district?
Oh, boy. I know there's stuff in the news, for example, of course, housing, of course, homelessness. But, for me, I would say jobs. I look at it a little bit differently, where I like to see local Lowellians. You talk about, doing the work not just for the Acre district, but for the whole entire city. I want us to get more high-paying jobs for the Lowellians. We can't be just the regular worker, but we want to be in a managerial, executive leadership, role as well. So and sustain that. So therefore, we can just spend the money that we earn in a city, also within our city, so we can improve our economy. So therefore, we're going to spread it all, around the city.
All right. Very interesting answer. I agree with you. I think if you create enough good jobs, high-paying jobs, you will lift people out of poverty much more quickly. Some folks say one of the challenges with doing that is when you do it, you start to drive up the cost. People with more money, suddenly rents go up, housing costs go up, etc. And now you make it unaffordable for those on the lower rungs. How do you strike that balancing?
Depending on what you mean by affordable.
I don't think the stuff they call affordable, I don't think is affordable.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
$1,800 for a one-bedroom apartment is not affordable.
Right. And a lot of the stuff that's happening in the city is already unaffordable. So are they scaring, not hiring people, local? So let's try it and see whether it is going to work or not. If you haven't even tried it yet, and therefore you're already scaring people, so that's not a good idea. Let's try it. If it works, then we sustain that. If not, we'll change it.
Okay. What do you see as the biggest difference between you, if you are elected, versus the gentleman, Paul Ratayem, who has held that council seat since the district was created? What's the biggest difference between the two of you in terms of the issues, or is there a particular issue that you can point to where you might have done things differently?
Differences, I mean, I'm a community person. You would see me more in the community. You would get access to me more in the community. You would know the stuff that's happening, whether the pothole in front of your house will be fixed or whether, you have issues with the light pole, in front of your house be fixed. Access is the most important, especially in the district area. I mean, you're the neighbors. We have to have connection with our neighbors. And so therefore, I am your neighbor. You can connect with me.
Okay. We are chatting with Sidney Liang, candidate for Lowell City Council in District 7, the Acre District, as it is known. I want to get your thoughts on some of the issues that have been in the news recently. Just 2 nights ago, the Lowell City Council, 2 people have now told me for the first time in their memory, the Lowell City Council voted to give extra money to the schools than was originally placed in the budget. How would you have handled that issue? Would you have said, yes, give the schools whatever they need, kind of find the middle ground, as it looks like they tried to do by giving them $2 million? Or would you have said, nah, taxes are high enough, they have enough money, they don't need to spend more?
Right. This is probably one of the most important issues as well with the school. I think that they should get whatever resources they need, not just money, but other equipment and supplies that the city has that might be able to support our next generation so that they can get better jobs, so that they can improve our city. So I support, but at the same time, I need to look into the budget system and how it's reworked. What is the money available right now? We only see at the end. We don't see the whole entire work, of the budget system. So I support the money that's going to the school, but I also would like to see what else can be done to support our public school system.
Okay. Some folks recently have started calling with the increased activity of ICE, Immigration and Customs enforcement in Lowell. There was actually an action this morning, it looks like, in the city's Centerville neighborhood, but over the last couple of weeks, they seem to have been very active in Lowell. There are people who are saying the city's leaders, the elected officials, are not speaking out against this strongly enough. Your thoughts on that, Sidney?
That's true. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of statement out from the city management or the city elected official or our delegate for that matter. I would like to see a little bit on what's their plan in regarding protect and serve our residents within the city. Of course, our city is very diverse of all people from all over the world, and some of them are living in fear. They escape a country where people wear uniform will just turn them and run away and not associated with them. So a little bit more of information from City Hall, a little bit more information from our elected official or our neighborhood representative, because you are connecting. Again, we are neighbors, and if you have information, if you have any resources that you can share that information, and then I would basically, if my district has concern regarding all this kind of thing, I can tell them what's going on and how the city is approaching it.
Okay. It seems that from what the city manager said a couple of meetings ago, they're kind of trying to see what's going on and almost like stay under the radar, as they say, to not draw attention to what's going on, because they're worried that you might lose federal funding, as the Trump administration has threatened other communities with and done in certain cases. I don't know if they've withheld money from cities yet, but they're doing it with colleges and other places. Would you take kind of the same stance even if it does affect money that might be coming into the city? Are you concerned that by taking a more vocal stance, you might end up losing certain grant funding or other funding for projects, transportation, etc.?
I understand this is a very difficult road for our leaders, but I also understand the fear that our residents are living in. They're afraid of going, out into different places. They're not understanding what's going on within the city. They see a lot of people dressing as soldiers. And for many countries, that's living in our city, they're afraid of soldiers. They're afraid of people with guns and things like that. And of course, we're afraid of losing money. But I would think also focus on our resident, make sure their mental health is good, make sure they are okay in regarding to resources available for them. Most importantly, my thing that I bring to the table is that I'm a community educator. So I like to provide resources and, many things to the community so that they can feel better. If they don't have anything, this is what's happening in our country, and I mean like Cambodia and other third world countries, is that when things like this happen, they shut down communication, so people are living in fears. So, and I don't like to see that, because then their trauma and everything else will trigger, and then we'll create more problem within our healthcare system too.
Okay. You mentioned housing, a lot of different buildings going up. Boy, the Acre neighborhood, Merrimack Street, Market Street, Broadway Street, there's construction everywhere, most of it for housing. Has the city done enough to address the housing situation in your mind? Do you have any new ideas that potentially you might like to bring to the council?
New ideas. I think the city are focusing on housing. I mean, they are focusing. I like to see some more work. I like to do a study throughout the different neighborhoods, and I mean districts, so that, okay, is the Acre the only location that we're going to put housing in? How about some other communities, some other district as well? Can we do that? Is there a zoning issues that we might be in trouble with if we're building, in Zone A or District A or District B? So I like to learn more about it. But I mean, like, for me, I don't want to get Acre too congested. Our kid has to go around in between buildings to go to the park. So
you jumped on what was going to be my follow-up question. It seems like where there is the most housing being built is in the most crowded neighborhood already.
Right.
The Acre. Just
Why?
Look at it all. Should other neighborhoods take up some of the housing slack that the Acre is taking?
Yes, I mean, to me, yes. There are some places, but again, I don't know the zoning law. I mean, I haven't studied the zoning law, but I need to know more. Maybe the city can inform us and say, hey, maybe we can put a building maybe around a college stadium. I don't know. Maybe we can put a building
Good luck on that one.
right around, maybe behind Lowell General Hospital or something like that. Some place that, I mean, the reason I'm saying it is that we're doing a good thing in paying attention to housing, which is good. But not all the housing, focus on the Acre area. I mean, it's just not right. I mean, come on, and also it's not fair to other folk who wanted to live in other neighborhoods, but at the same time, the housing will be built, down in the Acre area.
All right. You mentioned mental health. If I remember correctly, you actually worked in the mental health fields for a little bit as well, right? How is the city handling that, especially when it comes to the homeless population or the vagrancy issue of people, sleeping in the parks or setting up camps and whatnot? Has the city done enough to address this issue and the mental health crisis that I think is driving pretty much all of it, even the addiction part of it?
Right. I call myself also a wounded healers in a way, because we go educate community that, a lot of us are wounded in a way that sometimes need more help than others. We work in the community and trying to educate them and bridge into the American system, but they're still wounded. And looking at the city, I think we need a little bit more support in terms of the health department, maybe looking into creating something regarding mental health, programs that can be helpful, and not just the resident, but also toward, homeless residents or community that we can work with. So I would, support in terms of putting a little bit of money into the mental health program or behavioral health program inside the health department.
Okay. Do you have is there I don't want to say political idol, but is there a politician that you think if you're elected and you're serving, you might pattern yourself after, whether it's somebody local or state or even above? Is there somebody whose style you'd like to copy?
I don't even know I'm a politician. I'm a community advocate. I mean, I like some of the work across the aisles, some of the good thing maybe that Senator Warren's also being really good at in terms of vocal and regarding protecting the community and consumers. looking into, some other ones that I admire, maybe, Clinton a little bit, and doing, a lot of support in terms of racial and ethnic approach to, community settings. So I, do have a few that's in mind, but I still don't think I'm a politician.
Not judging by your social media pages. By the way, you said Clinton, Bill or Hillary or both?
No, that's a good one. So I think somewhat both, but leaning toward Bill a little bit more.
Who served as president.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we hit the record button, you were showing us your campaign website and some of your literature.
Yeah.
If folks are watching this and what they want to learn more where you stand on the issues.
Yeah.
You do have a website set up. You have the social media. Please tell folks where they can go to find out more information about you, Sidney.
I'm pretty much sort of an open book. Like I said earlier, what you see is what you get. I'm not your regular politician. One of the things that I want to do is just basically get what we need. We don't have the basic needs. The Maslow hierarchy of needs. We're still at 1 and 2, physical and maybe safety, and we're not even that. So therefore, we are in the acre, we're at the lowest, and my job is to fight and get, to be at level 3 or 4 of it. And so therefore, if people want to give me ideas, I don't have a lot of ideas. People want to give me ideas, do go to, see, I even forgot my website. It's Liang4Lowell.com. So Liang, number 4, and then Lowell.com, and you can go in there and do help me donate some money on and fund, because I don't have a sign yet.
you don't even have a fundraiser yet, but you're working on it.
I'm working on it.
So you'll post all your information, I assume, on social media and your
Yes.
website if folks want to also fund and help support the campaign.
Yes. Do please help us if you want to see the acre moving up a little bit in a lot of the discussion, and not based on poverty or low median income and stuff like that. Because look at it this way. You have City Hall. You have UMass Lowell. You have the library right in the heart of the acre. Isn't it weird that the acre is at the bottom of the list when you're talking about economic and education and everything else? So come on. So if you work at the acre, the city, you work at UMass Lowell, help us. And I'm planning to do that. Maybe, UMass Lowell can help plow the area or something like that. Work something out so that we can be balanced out, so that I don't have to scream, again and again. But I don't think that will stop me.
Yeah, keep screaming. Sidney Liang, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on the campaign trail. Hoping to have you back along with the folks who are running for that seat. We'll do a candidates forum at some point, and I'm sure you and I will cross paths out there many, many times between now and September and maybe November.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you. Thank you to Sidney Liang. Thanks to you for watching as well. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about one of the candidates who's vying to represent you here in the city of Lowell, in particular in District 7, the Acre neighborhood, my personal favorite neighborhood in the city, since that's where I came into play. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us here on this Inside View podcast, Inside Lowell. As we like to say, if Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till next time, everybody stay safe, and we'll catch you on the other side.